Hello, literature lovers. Today I want to discuss To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. Let's begin with the biography of her. She was an English writer, considered one of the most important modernist 20th century authors, and also a pioneer in the use of stream of consciousness as narrative device. And this is what I like about her. She studied in King's College London, the best one. Other major works were Mrs. Dalloway, Orlando, A Room of One's Own, and The Waves. Relatives of her were also famous, and she was, in fact, it is an important influence. And her childhood was abrupt, and especially her death was ending was abrupt, and with the death of her mother and her first mental breakdown led to it. So, quite depressive life was there. So, we can imagine what kind of turmoil she faced. Now, coming back to the famous work, the most important one, To the Lighthouse, my personal favorite. Actually, I was part of that. This because of when I was completing my post graduation, it was in my course, though I had no choice at that time. So I studied it quite in detail. Not talking about the plot, it is a 1927 novel, and it centers on the Ramsay family. And while visiting the Isle of Skye, it is in Scotland. Its time period is between 1910 to 1920. So really, talk about it. It belongs to modernism. So the genre here is modernism, and I personally like the thing that it is divided into three sections: the window, time passes, and lighthouse. And this is the last one. So it quite really symbolizes the life of a person. Now, talking about the first section, that is the window, and how it began, it's all given here. I want to mention some of the special things about it. That in 1998, the modern library named the lighthouse to be number 15. Yes, number 15 of the top 100 best English language novels of 20th century. In fact, in 2005, it was chosen by Time magazine as one of the 100 best English language novels since 1923. So you can imagine the immense success of this work, and it's really adorable. It's really special. It's really close to my heart too. Talking about the time passes theme, this is the second section and gives about the, as the name suggests, the time period is 10 years, and during which the First World War began and also ends in between. And Mrs. Ramsay dies, and Ezra, two of the children, Prue dies of complication of childbirth, and Andrew is killed in the war. So many things that happen in this time period. And this section is told for an omniscient point of view, and occasionally from Mrs. McNair's point of view. It worked in the Ramsay's house since the beginning, so that point of view is being highlighted here. It's making it clear. And in the time of the summer house, it is talked about, it was being occupied. Next comes the title section, that is the To the Lighthouse, that is the lighthouse section. This is a very important section, and it is the final section also. Some of the remaining Ramsays and other guests return to their summer home 10 years after the event of the first part. Mr. Ramsay finally plans on taking the long delayed trip to the lighthouse with daughter Cam and son James. So you can imagine the pictures are quite revealing. And the trip does not happen as the children were not ready, but they eventually set off. As they traveled, the children were silent in protest at their father for forcing them to come along. So how things change are the drastically. They are accompanied by McLister and his son and catches fish during the trip. The son cuts a piece of flesh from a fish and he caught to use for bait, throwing the injured fish back into the sea. So some of the events are talking about the complexity of experience. This is one of the major theme of the work, and characters are so special. The Lily Briscoe character, her image is so dark, she almost portraying the author. I think these are some of the themes. I can agree with these loss and art and transcends and such. Especially, we can all connect to all of them. This is a very special thought that it is quite connected with use of colors, how white, red, brown, blue, green, yellow color all have their own purity and thought process. It's really special. Autobiographical references are there that cannot be neglected at all. She is very good at it, and as we discussed in her biography too, special and cannot be forgotten at all. Complexity of human relationships are also a part of it. Narration is quite special, although it lacks omniscient narrator, except in the second section there is, and the plot have characters' consciousness is there. It is a modern novel, no doubt, and when I first read it, I almost lost what is right, what is wrong, and what is the reference. So I can imagine about other. Freudian concept is also there. Stream of consciousness is obviously very special. It is a technique, interior monologue, and we can discuss it in detail because it is such a wide topic. Cannot be discussed so easily. Not talking about the reference to the relationships and all. Large part of the Wolf's novel do not concern themselves into the objections of vision, but rather investigate the means of perception, attempting to understand people in the act of looking. To be able to understand through Wolf's diaries reveal the author would spend considerable time listening to herself, observing how and which words or emotions are out in her own mind in response to what she saw. There is also complexity of relationships, and examining that perception is not, however, limited to isolated interior dialogues but also analyzed in it. So, these are the points. I hope you will like it. Thanks.